Get ready for the action, because Gilbert Burns is officially stepping into the management game. The former UFC welterweight title challenger is ready to make some massive moves after his recent loss, and we dive into the incredible strategy behind his new career direction. Burns is not just retiring, he is building an empire, and we explore exactly how he plans to leverage his experience to guide the next generation of fighters in the world of MMA management.
Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to hold it with one hand? The PopSocket's Pop Grip gives you a secure grip, works as a phone stand, and even lets you swap the top for a fresh new look. Simple, useful, and perfect for everyday phone use. Click the link in the comments to grab yours on Amazon.
Next up, we look at the heavyweight contender Carlos Prates, and why he is poised to take on the UFC welterweight title shot. Prates just delivered a stunning knockout victory over former champion Jack Della Maddalena, and he has spoken out loud about his ambition to challenge for the belt. Find out Prates' bold reasoning for why he believes he is the next man to capture that prestigious 170-pound title. We also have a look at the atmosphere surrounding the recent UFC Perth event, as Jacob Malkoun shared his honest take on the performance. Malkoun is focused on the grind and the improvement, and we break down what he said about the performance he put in, giving you the real insight into the mindset of a fighter pushing for his next big win. And finally, get ready for UFC 328. We reveal the massive talent assembled for the broadcast team, including Joe Rogan on call, legendary Bruce Buffer, and Kate Scott hosting the show. We break down who will be calling the action and how the entire event is set to unfold. Don't miss this deep dive into the lineup for UFC 328. Former UFC welterweight title challenger Gilbert Burns is pivoting his career following his retirement from competitive MMA, announcing plans to enter the world of MMA management. Following a TKO loss to Mike Malott, which marked his 5th consecutive defeat, Burns has expressed contentment with his career trajectory and is actively preparing for his next chapter. At 39, Burns stated he recognized his time was nearing its end and has been establishing a framework for his future, which includes grappling competitions, opening a youth jiu-jitsu gym, and becoming an MMA manager. Leveraging over 14 years of experience as a fighter and a strong background in grappling, Burns believes there is a significant gap in athlete representation within the sport. He aims to provide fighters with better opportunities in negotiations with the UFC. "I'm going to become a manager, too," Burns told MMA Junkie. He emphasized his desire to build a career in management, citing past successes in building a brand, securing sponsorships, and gaining visibility as pathways to helping fighters. Burns intends to start his management journey by collaborating with his longtime manager, Abdelaziz of Dominance MMA, with plans to eventually gain autonomy to manage his own fighters. The role of management in MMA is a contentious topic, with varying opinions on its necessity. Burns acknowledges the complex dynamics of negotiating with the UFC brass, noting that relationships with key figures like Hunter Campbell, Dana White, Mick Maynard, and Sean Shelby can shift rapidly. However, Burns asserts his readiness to advocate fiercely for his fighters when necessary, stating, "I know the game, though," and Burns said he won't hesitate to stand up for his fighters when the conversations get tough. Burns views the inevitable conflicts and debates as essential components of the process, believing that tough confrontations are necessary to ensure fighters receive the recognition they deserve. He is prepared for the difficult discussions ahead, signaling a significant strategic shift in his post-fighting career. UFC welterweight contender Carlos Prates has asserted his claim to be the next challenger for the UFC title at 170 pounds, following a dominant performance against former champion Jack Della Maddalena at UFC Perth. Prates secured a significant victory, knocking out Maddalena in the main event through a series of striking techniques, marking his biggest win of his career and boosting his record to an impressive 7-1 with 7 knockout victories. In a post-fight interview with Michael Bisping, Prates explicitly called for a title shot at 170 pounds against the winner of UFC 330's expected main event between champion Islam Makhachev and Ian Machado Gary, who defeated Prates in a previous bout. At the post-fight press conference, Prates detailed his reasoning, stating, "I should be next. Nobody beats two former champs on that really good way. They never do by knockout and then I come there and make it look easy. I respect to them, they are tough. But against Leon Edwards, against JDM, I make it look like easy. And I'm the next. Nobody did it. Of course you have Michael Morales, but Morales didn't fight a former champ. I beat you former champs, so I will be the next." While other contenders like Ian Machado Gary could potentially secure the next shot at Makhachev, Prates believes he has surpassed rising star Michael Morales in the pecking order for the title. The current landscape at 170 pounds is highly competitive, featuring a top-tier champion in Islam Makhachev, followed by strong contenders including Gary, Prates, and Morales. The division is also populated by established veterans such as Sean Brady, Leon Edwards, Joaquin Buckley, Kamaru Usman, and Della Madonna, alongside rising prospects like Gabriel Bonfim and Euros Medic. The crowded field suggests that the UFC welterweight division is more stacked than ever, promising an intriguing fight for the championship in the coming years. Jacob Malkoun has expressed disappointment regarding the performance at UFC Perth, stating, "It wasn't the performance I wanted to do." Malkoun, who recently secured his second victory in 2026, has indicated that his current focus is squarely on improvement moving forward. The statement, shared on social media under the hashtag UFC Perth, suggests a commitment to development following the event, rather than dwelling on the results achieved. The countdown is on for UFC 328, the fifth numbered event of 2026, and a key broadcast for the Paramount Plus era. The main event is set to take place this Saturday at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. The main card will stream on Paramount Plus for U.S. residents, with international coverage available via pay-per-view starting at 9 p.m. ET. A preliminary card is scheduled to kick off at 5 p.m. ET and will also stream on Paramount Plus. The broadcast team for UFC 328 has been finalized, featuring a lineup of top-tier talent. UFC correspondent Megan Olivey will be on hand to conduct pre- and post-fight interviews backstage and provide real-time updates. For the weigh-in, Dan Hellie will host the show on Friday at 8:50 a.m. at /5:50 a.m. PT, joined by former two-division champion Daniel Cormier, former middleweight champion Chris Weidman, and Laura Sanko. Legendary Octagon announcer Bruce Buffer is slated to introduce the fighters for the event. The broadcast and post-fight show will be hosted by Kate Scott, joined at the desk by Chris Weidman and former interim lightweight champion Dustin Poirier. Daniel Cormier will provide desk coverage on Friday, while coach Din Thomas will join Scott, Weidman, and Poirier for Saturday's coverage. From the cage side, John Anik will serve as the leading man for play-by-play, working alongside color commentators and UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier and Joe Rogan. Coach Din Thomas will also be involved as a co-channelist throughout the broadcast, providing expert insight into the action.